Hey, this is Captain RV Banzai. Today we're taking a look at this Weeylite Ninja 400 bicolor constant LED light. They sent this to me at no cost, so just keep that in mind throughout the video. Let's get started. The light itself comes with a case, controller, and power brick. Also these cables. It does not come with a light stand, so just keep that in mind. I think you want to get some type of stand that's pretty heavy duty, that also has some type of spring system or air cushion system to it, just in case if you loosen these by accident, you don't want the light smashing down. Let's go over some of the features of the light itself. It has a nice swivel mount, this metal locking pin, and it has geared teeth on the inside. That way you can adjust it as you want, but also lock it down. That compresses this piece here. Build quality of the unit itself, you've got aluminum and plastics. Feels pretty solid. You also have a lot of venting for the light. Of course, it's higher power, so that's a good thing. Inside there is a fan, which so far in my testing is pretty quiet, which is good for video especially. This shade is included with the light. It has a standard Bowens mount. You hold this pin back, it comes off very easily. It's the 3 connection points that lock down into the light itself. So you can use any type of Bowens mount accessory with this light. We're going to be trying out a softbox and also a snoot. With the shade, it has a reflective surface on the inside. That way you can get maximum power directed to a subject. On the back, you have your DC connection source, 5 pins with the included cable. It snaps in very easily. And there is a pin to loosen it, pull it out. On the back of the light has a little bit of information. We might as well go over that while we're here. 150 watt maximum power. Also an RA rating of 95 or better, and color temperature range of 2500 to 8500 Kelvin. We can take a look at the controller later on. Let's start this up and do a test of power. Here's a light at 1% power, 5200 Kelvin color temperature. The light does come with a remote. It uses 2 AAA batteries. Just have to configure the channel and the group so that it connects with the light. It uses Bluetooth, which is nice. Pretty simple. Powered it up. I already have it connected to the right channel. Let's go down to 2500 Kelvin, 25% power. Definitely a warm light on that. So you can use this and adjust it to whatever other lights you have or how you want the scene to look. If I don't mention a specific color temperature throughout the video, you can assume that I'm using 5200 Kelvin. I have a watt meter here. You can see it is using 0.5 watts or so when it is connected but not on. I'm going to turn it on. So we're at 1% power, 2500 Kelvin. It is using about 24 watts. So that's pretty efficient at 1%. This is the Ninja 400's controller unit. Nice and compact. You've got one side for the power going into the device from this power brick, which is pretty sizable. The cable going from the wall outlet to the AC adapter is nice and long. However, the one going from the AC adapter to the controller is not too long, so you're going to have to adjust your setup to make sure this is pretty close to the controller itself. This connection here, it's a quick release, is included with the device. I just have an extra little cable for added protection. On the other side, we have the connection to the light itself. This cable is nice and long as well. So you could definitely boost it up a lot and still have the controller down lower for better center of gravity. On the back of the controller, we have a connection point for V-mount batteries. I think it's 14.8 volt. I don't have one to test out, but you can use this portably. On their spec sheet, it said the light will run at a maximum of 80% power. Definitely something to think about if you want to go portable. It is an option. The controller unit's interface is very simple, easy to use. Got this dial here to adjust power by default. Let's take it down to 1%. You can actually turn it off fully or jump to 1%, so the increments are fine. And then you've got 3 buttons. Of course, the one for power, you can hold that down, it'll turn the light off. And you have the select button to switch by default between the power and the color temperature. So use the main dial to adjust that. Here we have the set button. You can hold this down to get into your wireless settings. So it starts off with group A, it's flashing. You can adjust that with the dial. Or press the select to switch to the channel Same thing, adjust it with the dial. We'll leave it on 10. That relates to your remote and also their wireless app, which is an option for Android and iOS. Let's go back into set. What you can do there is once you're in the set mode, by holding the button down, press it again, and then you have your DMX settings. DMX is a way to control lights or multiple lights with a special controller. I don't have that available, but it is an option. On the bottom of the controller itself, there's 2 RJ45 connection points. That's really all there is to the controller itself. Let's take a closer look at the wireless remote. So you hold that button down to turn it on, adjust the power with these 2 things down here. You can adjust to which channel and group you want to control. So we can adjust your group. Gives you different settings for each group, and once we're on channel 10 group A, easily adjust. You can hold the buttons down or press them once to adjust 1% at a time. If you press the mode button, you can switch between the power and the color temperature. Then whichever one is flashing is the one that will change. You can easily adjust it the same way as the power. Works well, no issues with that, nice and quick. Here is the included case. Let's look at the bottom, rubber feet. You also have a shoulder strap. So these will connect on the side here if you want to use that, as well as the hand grip. One of those silica gel packets broke open in transport, so I was having to pull out those from the light and everything else. The sides are very, very solid. The bottom and top have a little bit of flex to them. I'm going to do some tests with the light. First, I'll use the included shade. I also have a softbox and a snoot. I'm going to do self-portraits. Nice thing you can do depending on your camera is use it remotely plus the remote for the light itself. So pretty cool to have an easy setup just to sit there, take photos, change the light power, change the camera settings. It works really nicely. One thing to consider with a constant light versus a flash type or a strobe type light is that with the constant light, what you see is what you get. So it's easier to control, easier to deal with. Flash does work, of course, but there's a little more effort involved with flash. So nice constant light, works in video, works in photos. If it's at 1% power and it's really, really bright, it is very close to me and it's a small space. So just keep that in mind. Depending on your setup, will be different. Have it at 5200 Kelvin color temperature. Of course, I can adjust the light as I want. Let's go 100%. Let's drop it quick. So you can have it off if you need to. And then 1% power. Definitely without any type of modifier, you get a lot of light on there. So let's take a quick photo. I'm gonna adjust the shutter speed on the camera so it looks decent. It's using face tracking autofocus. That's the Canon EOS M5. And take a photo. Let's say I want to use f8 on the camera. Definitely very dark on the preview. So what we need to do is bump up the power. And you can see my video previews are totally blown out, but the light is at 100% power without any type of diffusion. So I'm gonna take a photo. Without that maximum power, you're not gonna get a photo out of it unless you boost the ISO a lot on the camera. It's nice to use this type of modifier. It's simple, has a little bit of reflection and directionality to it, but you don't want to look at the light. Now I'm going to go into the softbox next. So that's at 1% power. We're still getting a nice amount of light. This one has double diffusion in it, so you have one panel and then an interior panel. Let's not use f8 this time. Let's use f4. Looks pretty good, 25%. So if we wanted to adjust the color temperature easy enough, press the mode button and switch it. Let's go super warm. Good, nice warm glow to that. Looking at my preview, probably need to adjust either the camera settings or the light, add some more power to it. It's right, 1/100th of a second at 3.5 ISO 100 and 50% power on the light, currently at 2500 Kelvin. Color temperature, we'll take a photo. Now I'm going to try the snoot and see how that works out. It's very directional light, and in this case my snoot doesn't have a reflective surface on the inside, so it needs a lot of power because it turns a lot of the light to heat. Here we have the snoot going at 1% power, 5200 Kelvin. Color temperature, it's boosted up to 100%. Yep, very bright. And like I said, that snoot does not have any type of reflective material in there, so it will get pretty hot. You probably want to be careful with something like this, not to use it too bright. We're at 10% power, going to take a photo. I do have colored gels for this snoot. I can quickly put something on here like, let's go red. In this case, you can really see that red gel is working with the snoot pretty well. That's at 10% power, 5200 Kelvin. Color temperature, what we could do here is actually adjust the color temperature and get different color out of it. So slight variations of that. We're at 40% power, 5200 Kelvin color temperature. Take a photo. Let's go over things I think could be improved slightly or just stuff to consider. This area, these two open circles are relatively sharp, so I want to be careful around that. Just something Weeylite might want to look into from a manufacturing side is just to soften those out a little bit, but it's a very nice metal, just a little sharp. Also, keep in mind that you will need a light stand. I think it's good that they're not including the light stand actually, because you want to get one that really works well for it, and shipping a light stand of this size would be added cost by quite a bit. In this case, it's a ProMaster light stand I picked up locally for $40. It has the spring, so it's a little more safe and just generally pretty decent. So you should be able to find a nice light stand to go along with it. It would be nice if the AC adapter had some type of loop or something like the controller does, so I could hang it on the light stand easily. I'm going to think of some way to hang it, but in general, considering the cord from the AC adapter to the controller is the shortest cord out of the group, that's something you probably want to have them close together. So now let's go over the things I like about the light. The build quality in general feels good. Metal casing on the light itself, the Bowens mount works well. There's a little switch, haven't had any issues with it. A good grip on the back. This attachment that is fixed to the light works well for adjusting the tilt, and the actual clamp is metal. So besides that, the cables feel good. Each cable has a metal end on it, and they're thick. No issues with that as far as I can tell. The controller feels pretty good. The interface is simple. You've got those 3 buttons plus the dial. There isn't a lot to change, but you don't need a lot. You've got the color temperature, you have the wireless settings, and the power. That's it, and it just works well enough. I really like the remote having a way to adjust power, color temperature, all that simply from afar. Doing solo videography, solo photography stuff, having a remote for your light is super convenient. Of course, you saw in the video I was able to control the camera and the light together. Super easy, just set it up, maybe adjust things here and there, but then use the remotes to get the stuff done. In general, what this brings to the table is versatility with the color temperature and the amount of power you can use. That lets you utilize smaller apertures, lets you adjust things with different diffusion that really pull down the amount of light coming out. It works well, and it gives you a lot of options, I should say. It's nice to have that case as well. I can stow it away when I don't want it all set up as it is. I'll definitely be using this light more in the future for different videos. Again, thanks to Weeylite for sending this light to me. Just keep that in mind with the video. Photography Banzai. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing. That helps me a lot. Likes and shares help out a lot as well. Thanks again.